Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Wanderlust Wealth Show. Today we have a fabulous guest, one of my students, Samantha, or Sam, really. I don't know why I said Samantha.
It's fine.
But Sam, who you've been a part of WWA for like 6 months now, which is
Yes.
crazy, purchased your very first investment property. So proud of you. I think like my favorite thing about you is when you first joined, you're like, I don't think I'm gonna buy a property. And then you have the meeting with Anita and she's like, no, you're gonna be under
Yep.
contract by month 3.
Oh yeah, I was like, what? Are you kidding me? And now here I am, 6 months later. I just closed 2 weeks ago, and yeah, I was under contract by like month 4, I think. So
Yeah, literally it was like the end of month 3, you got under contract. It's like just right on time.
yep.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Well, Sam, can you introduce yourself to everyone? Like, where are you from? Where do you live? Like, what do you do for work?
Yeah. So yep, I'm Sam. I live in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Bought a house about an hour north of here, and I work in IT in corporate America. So yeah.
Awesome. So how long have you been in IT, just out of curiosity?
Well, I've been in corporate about 8.5 years, either between HR and now in IT.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So I have a question for you. When you found like me and all of my stuff and Wanderlust Wealth Academy stuff, where were you? Like mentally, like had you been thinking about real estate investing for a while, or what really
Yes.
made you end up joining?
Yeah, so I have been saving up for a house for a couple of years now, and I've always wanted to buy a duplex and live on one side, rent on the. I was just like, why would I even start out a house buying journey? Like, I don't have a family, I don't have kids, I'm not married. So I'm just like, why wouldn't I do what I can to make money on my property? So I've been saving up for a while, but I suffer a lot from analysis paralysis and just like the what if and the oh my gosh and just not knowing where to start. And yeah, you popped up on my Instagram, and I was like, I'm gonna check this out. And next thing I know, I signed up, and I'm so happy I did. It's such a great community, and it's definitely gotten me to where I am today. I wouldn't have a house if I didn't sign up.
I'm so glad. And honestly, like the thing I really want to touch on, especially as like young women, right? And I mean, you bought a property by yourself, right? And I
Yep.
think like there's so much stigma, especially for women, around buying properties for themselves because we were taught to wait until we're married, we have the significant other,
hmm
buy the property together. So, like, talk to me a little bit about that and why you felt the need and wanted to actually buy a property by yourself.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I think growing up, my parents always instilled independence in us. They've always taught us, financial savviness, and I attribute that mostly to my dad. He's really good with that. And I never really considered waiting until I was married. It literally never crossed my mind. It was just a matter of being ready myself to do it. And finally, at the end of last year, I was just turning 35, just earlier this February. So I don't know, something about turning 35 really just kind of kicked me in the butt. And I was like, I'm doing really well, up to now. I really want to make this dream come true. I want a duplex. I want to make money on my first house. And the market that I'm looking at, it was close to my parents who are getting older. So I wanted to move back to be closer to them as well. Um, but yeah, I just decided just to go for it. And I don't know, I don't usually wait for societal norms, I guess.
I love that. I love that. And so even like so I remember when you joined, I think this is probably the first time you'd really ever like invested in yourself. Is that correct? Like in
Yeah,
this sort of
I would
way.
say so for sure. Yeah.
So what was going through your mind, especially when we like hopped on a call and everything, like what was going through your mind before actually like joining? Like, that moment where it's like, okay, am I going to do this? Am I not going to do this?
I definitely was nervous, excited. I think I like when I decided to join and then before getting into the program, I was like, did I just do that? What? I have a tendency to like think about things forever and just not talk about it loud, and then all of a sudden I just like make the move to do it, and everybody's like, what are you talking about? You never talked about this. But I've been thinking about it for years.
Hey girl, if you've been dreaming about building generational wealth and living life on your own terms, this one's for you. Now, 5 years ago, I was right where you are, okay? Burnt out, working a corporate engineering job, grinding with no real freedom in sight. Then I bought my first investment property, learned how to live for free, and started making money in my sleep. That one decision changed absolutely everything. I stopped relying on my 9 to 5 and eventually walked away from it for good. And trust me, I don't regret it. Now I'm on a mission to help other people do the same, which is exactly why I created Wanderlust Wealth Academy, a transformational program and community where I teach you how to buy your first or next investment property and live for free in 2025. Now, this community is for 3 kinds of people, okay? If you are stuck in a job that you don't love, secretly dreaming of more freedom, more travel, and more passive income, and you know you don't want to be climbing the corporate ladder for the next 10, 20, 30 years, this is for you. Or maybe you're a digital nomad or a travel girly who just wants to build wealth and create stability without giving up your freedom. Or maybe you're a business owner or high earning corporate baddie who just sees the market volatility and knows that it's time to diversify your income. If any of those sound like you and you're making at least $75,000, ideally 6 figures, and have a minimum of $10,000 that you can put towards a property, then go ahead and apply for the Wanderlust Wealth Academy. Now, this is going to be a completely free call to see if you're a good fit for us and also for us to see if we're a good fit for you. You can go ahead and apply at oliviatati.com/apply WWA. That's oliviatati.com/apply WWA. Or you can just go ahead and click the link in the show notes. Now, spots are limited. We only take a few new folks a month. So make sure to apply now before there are no spots left. And they go pretty quick. Because my girl, freedom is so much closer than you think.
So I just knew I needed like a mentor or somebody in that space because it's intimidating. I mean, not just like buying a house alone, but not only do I have a house now, but I'm like an instant landlord on top of it. So there's a whole, basically I just took on like a side hustle essentially. And yeah, I just needed like a mentor. So I was really excited and just nervous and just excited to see what the next few months would bring. So
Totally. And it's like having that support system, right, is huge in
huge.
anything that we do. And it's crazy because I even think about it just as little things like working out, for example. Like I've always been very self motivated, self sufficient, all of this stuff. But sometimes it reaches a point where you're like, I honestly just don't think right now, like, I have the bandwidth to do this by myself. Like, I
Yep.
need someone there that's supporting me, that's able to ask questions, that's able to motivate me on times where
Yep.
I'm having doubts, right? To kind of like calm me down and be like, hey, no, you're on the right track. You got
Yep.
this. Keep going.
Yep. Exactly. Exactly.
I love this. Okay, well, so now tell me a little bit about the property that you purchased. So, what kind of property is it? What strategy were you doing? I obviously know this, but we're saying it for everyone else. And like, what was the price point? All of it. Let's kind of like dive right in.
Yeah. So it was listed at 220. It's a big old yellow house, an upper and lower duplex. And it's from 1910. So the thing is the market that I was looking in, the rent is just not high enough to have made it worth me getting something newer, more expensive. So I was like, I'm gonna do it. It needs to be an older property, unfortunately. And I'll need to grow into it, which is fine. So I ended up, after negotiations, getting it for 206 and 6,000 and some change in seller credits to get it just under 200. And it appraised for 218. So
We love
immediately
it.
had equity in it. So that was awesome.
Yes, that
um,
is
I
fabulous.
I know I was really happy with it, and I got it with initially it was the FHA, and then we actually switched it to a conventional just because of the FHA needs on it, and yeah, it ended up working out really well. So
I love it. And so for the property, like what strategy were you planning on using? Was it long-term rentals, short-term rentals, mid-term rentals? Like what does this place look like long-term? How much are you cash flowing on it? Like I think for a lot of people, they especially with these high interest rates, it's hard to
mhm.
see and like make the numbers make sense. They're like, but where are you finding properties that make sense? But you found a killer property that especially long-term makes a ton of sense.
I think so, and I think I probably saw at least 10, which isn't actually too many. You know, I think you said you looked 60 at 60 places for your first round. At least 10 to, I think 10 to 15 actually is what I saw, but this was definitely the best one. So my plan now is to actually move in with my parents who are close by and to rent out both units for the next year or so. And that way I'm going to pocket from their rent and my current salary, I'll pocket an extra 3K per month after my own expenses. And then even on the house itself, the monthly payment all in is about 1656. And then with their rent, it'll be about 2200 or so. So I'll be cash flowing at $600 or so on that.
I love that. That's amazing. And that's huge, right? Because once again, with these higher interest rates, yes, it is a little harder to make the numbers work, but that's where
Mhm.
you're always looking, okay, what's the price point that makes sense? Or what's the strategy that makes sense? So, another thing
Mhm.
that I know you looked at on this property in particular was potentially doing a short term rental later down the line and things like
Yeah.
that too.
And that's partially why I was like, all right, you know what? If I move with my parents, which the whole reason again to move there was to be close to them because they're getting older. So now I'll be really close. But if I move in with them, I'm going to be in a really, really good place to renovate. And I don't have to make it, perfect, but I think that market is getting better
Yeah.
for Airbnb. And I think it's actually going to be a really good thing in a couple of years. So it'll be awesome.
I love that. Well, okay, so Sam, let's take it back a little to when you first joined the program. And I remember, like, at the beginning, like, we were looking at properties and everything, and you're like, no, I'm not going to put an offer in, right? And so, walk me through some of the mindset challenges you were facing, especially at the very beginning.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think I was probably looking more for my forever home
Hmm.
versus a for now kind of either home or a rental property. I
Yeah.
think that was definitely a mindset that I had to get through because I don't know anybody personally who does this.
Yep.
And just like talking to people, somebody mentioned that and I was like, "Oh, you're right. I am not thinking of this as, potential landlord, property management more and I was thinking of it as a forever home, which was not the right way to go." So, I did have to shift that mindset and just think more of like, okay, what is livable, acceptable, like a nice place that I would move into to rent, but I needed to get over that forever home kind of mindset. So yeah,
Totally.
that initially was tough, but I learned quickly.
Well, and it's hard too when you do plan on moving into it, right? Because we
Right.
are taught that when you buy a house, it's your forever home. But like, especially that first property, usually, like, as an investor, that first property is going to be like your smallest, most basic, easy,
Hmm.
property that
Yep.
you're going to buy. And it's definitely not going to be the only property that you buy. And so it's
Right.
such a different mindset shift. Cause I remember even like, a lot of people come to me and they're like, "Oh, where should I buy a property? But I don't know where I want to live, all this stuff." I was like,
Right.
I know, yeah. My first property, I bought it in New Orleans. I have literally no ties to New Orleans other than the
Right.
fact I moved there for work. Like,
Right.
I don't have family there. I now have
Right.
friends there, but like, I had no ties to it. And like, was it ever going to be my forever place? No. Do I love New Orleans? Sure, yeah. But like, at the end of the day, it's an investment property. And then my
Right.
next properties I purchased in freaking Fort Valley, Virginia.
Right.
I didn't even know where Fort Valley, Virginia was. Right? But it was an investment property. And so like the
Yeah.
location really didn't matter so much for me. It's
Right.
interesting because nowadays now I do invest more so for location because I've got the like freedom that I need from the
Yeah.
investment properties. But at the beginning, the goal was just financial freedom, right? And I didn't care where I was buying, what I just wanted to buy something that made sense.
Yep.
And at the time, I also didn't want to buy in New Orleans because I was tired of
Yep.
hurricanes and all that stuff
Yep.
and wanted to diversify. So,
Right.
y-
Absolutely.
yeah, no. So that is a big mental hurdle that people have to kind of overcome to get through. But you like you work through it with some light bullying from
Yeah.
Olivia and the Wanderlust Wealth Academy
Exactly.
team. Oh my gosh. Well, so now tell me too, because this is where people always get a little freaked out, right? It's like, okay, you're under contract on the property. Now you've got inspections and things start popping
Mhm.
up. And this is
Yep.
where a lot of people pull out and they never go back, right? So
Yeah.
tell me what happened with you when you were under contract and even when you closed and how you kind of like got through a lot of that stuff.
Great question. Definitely had a lot of heartburn during the inspection period because again, it's an old house. So I think the oldest house that I've ever lived in personally, growing up at least, is from 1980, and this house is from 1910. So It was just kind of like at first glance, you walk through, and your walkthrough is like 15 minutes when
Yeah.
you're first seeing the house. But then when the inspector comes, it's like, oh, there's this, and then there's this, and oh, this basement wall is bowing in a little bit, and oh, there's all these moisture issues in the basement, and oh, this. And so it's just kind of like one thing after another. And I'm like, oh my God, what do I do? So that's how I got, like, I was talking them down to 206 and then giving me the seller credits. And then on top of that, when we got through the appraisal inspection, that's where the mold-like substance was found in the basement. So that really gave me a lot of heartburn. And I was like, I mean, to even get through the appraisal, that needed to get remedied. So thankfully, the sellers covered all that, and everything's good now. And yeah, day 2, I put downspout extensions on the whole property. I went to the
Yeah.
North probably 5 times that weekend. It's already so much better than it was
Amazing.
before.
And it's
So
isn't it crazy that just a small little fix like that.
the amount of negligence that I've inherited is insane. But the property it's got so much potential. So I'm really excited about the next like couple of years journey. It's gonna be great.
Completely. And also that's a big thing, like part of why I tell students, right, like everyone, don't put like up the most amount you possibly can down, right? Because you
Right.
want to like things they do. Things happen. It's
Yeah,
real estate, right? It's not
absolutely.
going to be smooth sailing every step of the way. There are things that are going to pop up, things are going to break. You want liquid cash so that in case something does happen, you have access to capital to get it fixed. And that's
Yep.
why we go with these lower down payment options, right? So that we
Yep.
can still hold on to our cash in case something happens.
Yep. Exactly.
I love it. And so within Wanderlust Wealth Academy and within the program, what do you feel like has been the most impactful part?
Honestly, just being part of our Monday calls to see what everybody else is going through and to hear similar stories and to just meet people who are doing this house hacking that I've always wanted to do, but I've never met anybody who's done it, so I didn't know how to start. And I think it's been so inspiring watching everybody grow. Just in the few months that I've been there, like I've seen, watching Cyan grow and watching Gian. I mean, it's been really cool just to see these other girls doing the same thing. So I think just like the community inspiration of it has been huge for me. And then just having my little like Olivia on my shoulder, like WWOD, I would have it in my head all the time. And I ask you, and you like tell me exactly what I thought you were going to say. So I was like, yes, I've got her down.
I love it. I love it.
That's been incredibly helpful.
Ah,
Absolutely.
that is amazing. And so, for anyone who is on the fence right now in terms of joining or like, they're thinking about getting started, what would you tell them?
Yeah, absolutely join. It has been a very, very good personal investment. The only way to grow is to invest. And, it happens in different ways, whether you're investing in your own health or investing in your own education, just like through Wanderlust Wealth Academy. I mean, it's just a small price to pay for the growth that you'll have
I love
for
it. And
sure.
honestly, Sam, like it has been such a joy watching you throughout because you've really
Yeah.
truly grown so much. And even the responses that you have, the emotional
Yeah.
regulation that you have
Yes.
now in comparison to the beginning is
Yeah.
incredible. And I just want to say, like, I am so proud of you because you've truly
Thank
made
you.
strides.
Thank you. I feel like a completely different person than I did 6 months ago. And now I feel like I could do it all again, like no problem.
Right,
Like,
right.
and now yeah, it's like, because my goal is to buy another house in like a couple years and do it again.
You could do it
And
earlier than that, girl.
exactly, I totally feel, and I'm like, now I totally know what to do. I've got my systems down. I've got my handyman already. His name is Bob. I call him Bob the Builder. But
Oh.
but yeah, no, I feel so much more confident now, and I think, I don't know, I'm kind of like what you said, like I can buy a house anywhere. Like if maybe I just want to go visit there sometimes, but I don't have to know anything about it. That's actually kind of fun, and
Exactly. And like now you're a landlord, right? Like you've got and
yeah.
I guess question for you, how is being a landlord so far? I know it's only been like a few weeks, maybe a month at this point, but like how is being a landlord so far?
It is interesting. They are very nice people for sure, and they've been there for 3 years. So I think I'm just gonna let them keep going. I don't have any plans right now to change that. And yeah, I mean, the system worked. I'm using Avail as my management property app, and it's working pretty well. It went right into my bank account, so I know that it's coming out of theirs. And yeah, I think there will be some things here and there that I've got to learn people wise, and that's fine. But yeah, so far so good. Having been in HR previously,
Yeah.
I'm
Honestly,
not too
that
worried
is
about that aspect
useful.
of it. Yeah.
That is useful.
Yeah.
I know, and that's the thing, because like some
Come
people
up.
come in and I'm like, you may want to get a property manager because you don't like dealing
Yeah.
with people.
Right.
But I would say for most people in general, there are some skills that you have to learn, boundaries that you have to learn, of course.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, it's just dealing with people.
Yeah, exactly.
I love this. Well, Sam, thank you so much for coming on. Truly, it has been such a pleasure. I'm so proud of
Thank
you, and you are going to
you.
crush it every step of the way. And I'm excited to see where you go in the next 5, 10, 15 years.
Thank you. No, big thanks to you. This has been an absolutely life-changing experience. So thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Amazing. Thanks, Sam.
Take care. Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to Wanderlust Wealth Show. Now, don't forget to follow the podcast, or if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to hit that subscribe button. If you love this episode, it would literally mean the world to me if you shared this with a friend or a family member, or literally like anyone off of the street. Like right now, go ahead, share it so you don't forget, or post it on social media and make sure to tag me. I love seeing what you're listening in on and what you resonated with, and I'm just so freaking thankful for you. I'm so freaking excited for you. I love you, and don't forget, life really doesn't have to be hard.